Shema yashar, Yahuah Eloheinu, Yahuah Echad. Listen and discern, yashar, Yahuah our Elohim, Yahuah is one. There is a lot to unpack in this statement. Well, let's start with the very first word, Shema. The word Shema is Strong's 8085. It means to hear, to listen, obey, and discern. Now, by the Odiot, the word Shema means a divine truth to behold. The divine truth to behold in this passage is the mark of Yahuah. Inside of the word Shema is Strong's 8034, Shem, which means a name, an appellation, or a mark. This is a mark, the mark of Yahuah to behold. Listen and discern, yashar. There is a mark to behold in this passage. But first, who is being spoken to here? Who is yashar? Many people associate yashar with a place in the Middle East that is called by the name Israel, but the scriptures never refer to yashar as a place. It refers to a people. Shemuel bet, 2 Samuel 7:10, and I shall appoint a place for my people yashar, and shall plant them, and they shall dwell in a place of their own, and no longer be afraid, neither shall the children of wickedness oppress them again, as at the first. Telahim, Psalms 81:13. Oh, if my people had listened to me, yashar would walk in my ways. I would subdue their enemies at once and turn my hand against their adversaries. As you can clearly see by these two witnesses, yashar is a people and not a place. Notice he calls yashar his people. So yashar is the name of Yahuah's people. The word yashar is a compound word full of meaning. First, it contains the word yashar. Yashar is the first three letters in the word yashar. This word, yashar, Strong's 3474, means to be right, be straight, be level, be upright, be just, be lawful, be smooth, to go straight, to be pleasing, to be agreeable, to be right. This word has the meaning of righteousness. But notice it says to be lawful, for Yahuah's people keep his laws, and they are pleasing to him. Notice in the word for yashar is the word for the Most High, which is Al. This word is Strong's 410 and means mighty one, the Almighty. Notice that yashar is written before this. This shows that yashar has the meaning of those who walk upright before Al, and those who are pleasing to Al, for his people keep his commands. Also inside of the word yashar is the word sar, Strong's 8269. The Hebrew word sar is used to denote a person of authority or leadership. It is often translated as prince or ruler and can refer to various types of leaders, including military commanders, government officials, or tribal chiefs. The term implies a position of power and responsibility, often under a higher authority such as a king or a sovereign. For the children of Yasharel have been made priests and kings under Al, who is the Father, Yahuah. Yasharal is Strong's 3478. It comes from the root word sarah, which means to contend or to strive with Al. Now, in Genesis 32:28, he said, "Your name shall not be Yaakov anymore. Your name shall be Yasharal." Yashar, because you have struggled with all. Now, if you look at the word struggle, this word is contained sarah inside of the word yashar. It means to persist, to contend, to struggle, right? This means to overcome challenges. This means overcoming with all. As we've seen, it is the people who keep the commands, who do what is pleasing. Those are Yahuah's people. Now hear the Shema again, people of Yashar. Shema Yashar, Yahuah Eloheinu, Yahuah Echad. Yahuah is one. The Shema is telling Yashar the mark of Yahuah, and that the letter Aleph represents our master Yahuah. Yahuah is one. The letter Aleph is the first letter and means one. It was the very first letter written on the 10 Commandments in the word Anaki, shown here in Deuteronomy, Devarim 5:6. Devarim, Deuteronomy 6:4. Hear, O Yashar, Yahuah our Elohim. Yahuah is one. And you shall love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your might. The word for one here starts with the letter Aleph. The word one is Echad. Strong's 259 means united, one, and first. Just like the letter Aleph, that means first. It is no coincidence when our Messiah Yahushua was asked what was the first and great command in Matthew 22:36. Teacher, which is the great command in the Torah? And Yahushua said to him, and you shall love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your being and with all your mind. This is the first and great command. This command is represented by the Hebrew letter Aleph. Notice after the Shema was given that in the very next verse it says this, and these words which I am commanding you today shall be in your heart, and you shall impress them upon your children and speak of them when you sit in your house and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down and when you rise up. And you shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. The word for sign in this passage is ot. Ot is Hebrew Strong's 226, spelled Aleph, Uah, Tav. This is a sign, a token, or a mark. This is the mark of Yahuah, and it begins with the letter Aleph. Hear, O Israel, Yahuah, your Elohim, is one, Aleph. Aleph is the first and great command, represented inside of the word oath. The word oath has the meaning of vow. This is the vow of the bride. This word was probably pronounced otah in Paleo Hebrew, but for this we will use oath for this presentation, because we all understand what an oath means. The definition of an oath is a solemn promise, often invoking a divine witness regarding one's future action or behavior. In this case, it is the vow of Yashar, and this vow begins with the letter Aleph, the first letter in the oath, that represents, and you shall love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. When you love Yahuah, you will keep his commands. As in the name Yashar, you do what is pleasing in his sight. The first 4 commands are equal to loving Yahuah, and there is 4 letters in his name. And it just so happens that by the audio, the commands coincide with each letter in his name, starting with the letter Yod. The first command is found in Deuteronomy 5:6. I am Yahuah, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim, out of the house of bondage. You have no other mighty ones against my face. So how did he bring us out of the land of Mitzrayim? You can see this in verse 15. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yahuah your Elohim brought you out from there by a strong hand and by an outstretched arm. Therefore Yahuah your Elohim commanded you to perform the Shabbat day. A strong hand represented by the letter Yod. The next letter in his name is the letter He. This is a representative of the Spirit, for we are to worship in spirit and truth in no other way. You do not make for yourself a carved image, any likeness of which is in the heavens above, or which is in the earth beneath, or which is in the waters under the earth. You do not bow down to them nor serve them, for I, Yahuah your Elohim, am a jealous owl, visiting the wickedness of the fathers upon the children to the third and fourth generations of those who hate me, but showing loving commitment to thousands to those who love me and guard my commands. This is how we are to worship in spirit. The next letter in his name is Uah. Uah is the sixth letter, and man was made on the sixth day. You do not bring the name of Yahuah your Elohim to naught, for Yahuah does not leave him unpunished who brings his name to naught. The Messiah came in the form of a man. He came in the name of Yahuah. The last letter in the Father's name is He again. This is how we are to worship. Guard the Shabbat day to set it apart as Yahuah your Elohim commanded you. 6 days you labor and shall do all your work. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahuah your Elohim. You do not do any work, you nor your son nor your daughter, nor your male servant, nor your female servant, nor your ox, nor your donkey, nor any of your cattle, nor your stranger who is within your gates, so that your male servant and your female servant rest as you do. And you shall remember that you were a slave in the land of Mitzrayim, and that Yahuah your Elohim brought you out from there by a strong hand and by an outstretched arm. Therefore Yahuah your Elohim commanded you to perform the Shabbat day. All of these commands are summed up in, and you shall love Aleph Tah, Yahuah your Elohim, with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. Aleph. Matthew 22:37. And Yahushua said to him, You shall love Yahuah your Elohim with all your heart, with all your being, and with all your mind. This is the first and great command, and the second is like it, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. In the word oath, the Aleph represents Yahuah and how we are to love him. The second letter in the word oath is the letter Uah. Uah represents man because man was made on the sixth day. Just as the second and great command is how we are to love one another. This command, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself, represents the letter Uah, the sixth letter. And there are 6 commands on how we are to love our neighbor. Respect your father and your mother as Yahuah your Elohim has commanded you, so that your days are prolonged, and so that it is well with you on the soil which Yahuah your Elohim is giving you. You do not murder. You do not commit adultery. You do not steal. You do not bear false witness against your neighbor. You do not covet your neighbor's wife, nor do you desire your neighbor's house, his field, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, his ox, nor his donkey, or whatever belongs to your neighbor. These commands are summed up in Uah Ahabta Larayaka Kamoka, which means, and you shall love your neighbor as yourself. This is the oath, the mark of Yahuah. Shama yashar Yahuah Eloheinu Yahuah Echad. Ua ahabta at Yahuah Elohika, bakal lababaka, ua bakal nafshaka, ua bakal nafeshka, ua bakal ma'adeka, ua aabta larayaka kamoka. And you shall love Aleph Ta, Yahuah your Elohim, with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And you shall love your neighbor as yourself. This is the oath of the bride, the mark of Yahuah. This is Yahuah Aleph, man Ua, in covenant Ta, the mark of Yahuah. May Yahuah bless you and keep you, and make his face shine upon you, and give you shalom.
Call on Yahusha, stay deep in love, seek what's above, finish the race, and go kiss his face.